Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be doing a mock hearing of an IAD hearing for a PR residency appeal. And the first part of the mock hearing would be an examination wherein I will be playing, me, Ryan Jacob, I'll be playing as a counsel for the appellant. And the appellant will be played by Vikramjeet Singh. And then we will move on to the next part of this mock hearing to the submission, which is going to be done by Vikramjit Singh. So yeah, we'll begin with the examination.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Torres, how are you?
I'm good. I could be better if I'm allowed to come back to Canada.
I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I'll be asking you a few questions here about your case, Mr. Torres, okay?
Okay.
When did you first arrive in Canada?
I came in October 2013.
Under what status or visa?
I came as a permanent resident. I came under Federal Skilled Worker Program.
Okay, and what is your marital status when you came to Canada?
I was a widow at that time. My wife passed away before I came to Canada in June 2012.
And what is your wife, your late wife's name?
Diana Garcia Torres.
And when did you apply for PR?
It was in, I think it was in early 2010.
And do you have children with your late wife?
Yes, I have got one daughter, and her name is Marcela Torres.
And what is her date of birth?
It's May 2008.
At the time you applied for permanent residency, did you include your late wife and your daughter to your application?
Initially, they were part of the application, but as I told you that during the process, I lost my wife. And then I informed IRCC that like my marital status that now I'm a widow and I would like my daughter to be non-accompanying as against to accompanying, which I filed initially.
And why did you change your daughter's status from accompanying to non-accompanying?
As you know that moving to a different countries could be always very challenging. So I was moving away from Brazil to Canada. I was not aware about like, okay, whether I'm going to get job, whether how I'm going to feed myself, how I'm going to take care of my child. And then there was supposed to be someone who could take care of the young kid. She was very young. So I decided that like she should be staying with my grandmother. She's a motherly figure to me. She's the one who raised me. And she's close to my daughter. So she was close to my daughter. So I wanted her to raise her while I settle here, and later on I could have sponsored her to Canada.
Okay. And who's taking care of your daughter when you came to Canada?
It was my grandmother, as I said. My grandmother was taking care of my daughter.
And what about like siblings, sisters? Do you have any sisters in
Yeah, I
Brazil?
have two sisters. So they were also supporting a bit to my grandmother initially, but eventually they also moved out of the country. One moved to Portugal, and one moved to London. And they also have their own kids, so they are married, they have own kids, so they were taking care of them as well. So it was my grandmother only who was taking care of her primarily.
All right, Mr. Torres, can you tell us what you were doing in Canada when you first arrived?
When I came in Canada, I got a job with Nikon Technologies. It was quite a stable job. I was a high performer, and yeah, I was working in a cybersecurity department, which was paying quite well. And yeah, I worked with the same company throughout my stay in Canada till I had to leave for Brazil to take care of my grandmother.
Okay. And during the time you were working in Canada from December 2013 to the time that you left for your grandmother, how was your life in Canada? What are the things, or what were the things that you were doing? Any significant changes in your life?
Yeah, it was quite good. Like I had a stable job. I had a good friend circle. I had many friends. I met a girl, Rosemary Griffin. So we went into relationship with her, and It was in March 2014. Basically, I was into live-in relationship with her, and then I also bought a property together with her. It was in December 2014 at 123 Elm Street East in Toronto. Yeah, and then also like I was able to buy some stuff which were of sentimental value to me. So I made the purchases, investments also during that time in Canada. I was also involved in some sort of a community service also in my church.
And did your ex-girlfriend know you were going to leave for Brazil?
Actually, initially it was not that like I'm going to leave permanently for Brazil or I'm going to leave for that long. So I told her when my sister called me that our grandmother is sick and someone needs to take care of, and she's not letting any help other than us basically. But she was pregnant and she had to take care of other children, so she asked me to come and help her. So initially, I took leave for 3 months. So I told her that I'm going for 3 months. And initially, she was okay. But again and again, she was asking, when are you going to come back?
Okay. So what happened to the house you bought together and your
Uh,
personal belongings?
Actually, what happened is, as I said, like my girlfriend was asking again and again when I'm coming back. So eventually, she decided to move out. She decided to move out with in relationship with someone else. So she told me that since I'm not coming back, she is going to leave me as she has found someone else and she will be living with her. And the house also we bought, and when I was in Brazil, like I was not able to work because all the time what I was doing was taking care of my grandmother. And because of her health condition, I was not able to work at all, and I didn't had much financial resources in Brazil. The work I was doing here was stopped. So I asked my girlfriend, we decided that we should sell that house. So we eventually sold that house in Toronto.
So what happened to your personal belongings?
I asked my friend to take care of them. So it's still with my friend and he's taking care of them.
And what's your friend's name?
My friend name is Xavier. He lives in
And you,
Toronto.
okay, and you still have your belongings with him.
Yes, I have my belongings with him. Like he has kept it in garage, and even he is asking like when I'm going to come back. I'm still in touch with him and all other my friends basically. So we are in a constant touch. Everyone is very sympathetic to my situation, but yeah, sometimes things are not in your control.
Okay. Well, I just want to go back to the time that your mother was becoming ill.
Mhm.
Was there nobody else who was able to take care of her?
So as I said, like I was informed about her sickness from my sister Maria. Like she went to Brazil in 2015 to visit my grandmother and other friends basically. That she is the one who discovered that my grandmother itself. But initially she started taking care of that, but then she had to take care of her husband and her children, and so she asked me to come. So we also checked with our other sister Anna. Anna was
Hmm.
also pregnant at that time, and he had two small children. So and like she was also living outside the country. So it was really really difficult for them to come back because of the family. They had the small kids. They had to take care of them, and they were living outside Brazil. Other than that, we don't have any other relative in Brazil who could take care of them. I also even tried to find help basically, but my grandmother basically, like she was, because of her sickness and all, she was really really grumpy, and she was not letting anyone else to help her. And since like she raised me, so I was able to manage her, and like so I was the only one to take care of her. Like I tried everything possible to find an alternative, but I was not able to find any alternative.
Okay. And when did your grandmother pass away again?
It was in February 2018. Like it was really a sad day for us basically. Yeah, as I told you that she's the one, like we lost our mother quite early, and it was our grandmother who took care of us. Like we were very very close to her. Like you can imagine, like you lost your mother and your grandmother is taking care of you, your siblings, and now she's also taking care of your daughter, basically. So we were very, very emotionally close to her, my daughter, myself, and I couldn't bear the pain that like she is suffering and I'm not there to take care of her.
Hmm. And when did you apply for the permanent resident travel document?
It was, I believe I did it somewhere around September 2019.
Okay. And could you please tell us why it took you that long to seek to return to
Uh,
Canada?
I think it was not long. Basically, I lost my grandmother in February 2018. As I said, like we were very close to each other. So what happened is like we were grieving. There were documentation we were supposed to take care of. As all the other thing, I also told you that like I was not working while I was in Brazil. Like it was almost 3-4 years without work. Only thing which I was sustaining, and there was a lot of expenses I was paying for my grandmother's, healthcare expenses, and all those expenses I was taking care of by selling my house. Like I didn't had much earning, so I had to save for that. I had to borrow money from my friends so that I can make arrangements. And then, as I said, like my daughter and I am very close to. I was very close to my grandmother, and we were not in a right frame of mind, I would say, at that point in time. And like it took us a while to gather ourselves. And once we were able to hold ourselves emotionally, physically, we decided that we should apply for PRTD.
Well, could you also tell us what would be the negative impact or hardship it would bring to you and your daughter should
Okay.
your appeal not be allowed?
I think like I will say it have many factors. I will say like one is like if you look in terms of our the kind of suffering we have seen, you see that like in the last from the since I moved to Brazil to take care of my mother, I lost my job, I lost my girlfriend, I lost my property, like my belongings are here, and like that's the kind of like losses I have suffered so far. And then now for so many years now, like I have not been able to work. My financial strengths are very weak, and my child is she's totally dependent on me. Like there is no one else to take care of her. So if I don't come back to Canada, I'm going to face a lot of economic hardship, and also the emotional stress, because like when there is no one closer to you, like here in Canada I have got my friends, I have got my community where I was involved, but there I don't have anyone. So I don't know what I'm going to do in Brazil. Like it's going to be emotional stress, it's going to be financial stress, and then sorry about that, so other thing which is also going to happen is like my child, right? So she is going to school right now, and I don't have enough. If I don't earn, I won't be able to send her to school. Her schooling is going to be impacted, her mental state is going to be impacted. So she is going to face a lot of hardships if we are not allowed to come back to Canada.
And Mr. Torres, is there anything else that you want to add why you should be allowed, together with your daughter, to come back to Canada?
See, as I said, that I have already faced enough hardship in my life, and by leaving me in Brazil, I don't think it is reasonable to put additional hardships on me. You have to take into consideration what impact it is going to have on my child. And then if you also see, like when I was in Canada, I was really, really established. I had a job, I had a friend, I had a girlfriend, I had a house. So I don't think I will have an issue in terms of establishing myself in Canada, and I will be able to provide a good life to my daughter. So those are the reasons I want you to consider when you are making a decision that whether I should be allowed to come back to Canada or not.
All right, Madam Member, that actually conclude my examination, and I'm going to be turning over the floor to my colleague, Vikramjeet Singh, for the submission.
Thank you, everyone. So we are going to start with the second part of the hearing, where I will be acting as a member, as a counsel, and I will be making a submission to the member. So I'm going to start now. Madam Member, Philip Torres has been considered to have lost his status as a permanent resident of Canada by the visa office in Brazil, as per the paragraph 46(1)(b) for not complying with requirements of residency obligation under Section 28 of Immigration, Refugee and Protection Act. Mr. Philip Torres was physically present in Canada only for 199 days, as against 730 days required as per the regulation. However, we want to bring to your attention that there are enough agency consideration due to the personal circumstances of Mr. Philip Torres, and we would like to submit those agency considerations to you. Before his departure, as you have submitted all the exhibits also as per the testimony provided by our client, you know that Mr. Torres was having a stable job in Canada before he left. He left for Brazil to take care of his grandmother. He had a girlfriend, Rosemary Griffin. He also owned a condo with his girlfriend. And then during the process, basically, he also even sponsored his girlfriend, his daughter, so that she can also become a permanent resident, basically. So as you see, his intent was to fully establish himself in Canada, and there was no way he was thinking about leaving Canada. However, circumstances were beyond his control, and he had to go to Brazil to take care of his ailing grandmother. As you can see from our exhibits which we have submitted, where we have submitted his request to the employer, where initially requested for 3 months leave. So he never intended that he would be staying that long in Brazil. His intention was to stay there for the shorter period. So he applied for 3 months leave so that he can take care of his grandmother. Then when situation was not getting improved, he applied for another 3 months. And then subsequently, again, he applied for 3 months. Eventually, he was fired from his position because he was not able to come, and the health of his grandmother was deteriorating a lot, basically. So, and there was no one else to take care of her. So he was the only one to take care of her because his sisters, they were living in other countries. They have got the small children. And because of the grumpy nature of his grandmother, he was not able to find any kind of help which could provide some assistance to him to take care of his grandmother. Also, we would like to bring to attention that when he was staying in Canada, he also started the permanent residency process for his daughter. She even got the COPR, but again, because of the situation at his family, his grandmother, even she was not able to travel. As a single child, she was not able to travel alone. She had already lost her mother. So those were the reason he was not able to take care of them. Other issues which we want to bring to your attention is the hardships Mr. Philip Torres has already faced in the current situation. He lost his job. He lost connection to his close circles, his community. He lost his girlfriend. He had to even sell his house. And he has already faced enough hardships in his life. And by not allowing him to come back, I do want to add further sufferings to his situation. We would also bring your attention to the best interest of the child. As you see that his child is 12-year-old, Marcela Torres. And she initially she lost her mother, then she lost her grandmother, and both were taking care of her. And this had quite a emotional stress on his daughter. And secondly, Marcela Torres is fully dependent upon Philip Torres for financial needs. And given the current situation of Mr. Philip Torres, he has not been working since he moved to Brazil, and he has been feeding himself or taking care of his grandmother through the funds he acquired by selling his house. So he won't be able to support the education and other living expenses for her daughter, and she is not going to be able to take care of properly. Finally, I would also bring to your attention that Mr. Philip Torres, before leaving Canada, he was economically established. Given the fact, like if he's brought back, he has potential to again economically establish himself. He has got a strong connection. He has got a friend circle, and he was involved in terms of community, even in terms of the work he was doing in Canada is very short after in Canada, whereas like demand for those skills are very low in Brazil. So based upon all these factors highlighted, Madam Member, we would request you to allow the appeal and let Philip Torres retain his permanent residency status as per 8 Section 67.2. Thank you, Madam Member.